Now, to those of you who are dealing with long-term functional freeze, it's a chronic pattern of wanting to act but being unable to act. This requires something more comprehensive. Hence, we're going to do the full EFT tapping sequence. You can do this on your yoga mat or in a chair. If you're on your yoga mat, come into a cross-legged position, sit on a cushion or something again to support your sit bones and be able to experience this in a more calm, relaxed way. I'm going to ask you and invite you to come into wherever you're sitting, and let's try to go inside for a few seconds. If you can close your eyes, please go for it. Obviously, it's not a have to. Place your hands where they're comfortable. I tend to put my hands on the top of my knees. And begin an inquiry inside. Maybe what you're feeling is a little distant, or maybe it's that energy that's surging that has nowhere to go. That could be where you're at. Let's try to focus on some other sensations. How does it feel to sit where you are? The contact of your sit bones against the surface. The feel of your clothes. Do they feel like pajamas? Or maybe they're a little itchy. How about the air around you? Does it feel hot, cold, or just right? And if you do feel far away and there are some racing thoughts, could you possibly introduce the idea of being here, where you are, that you can come back to presence? You are giving yourself this gift of presence. If you had your eyes closed, gently open them. And we're going to begin by tapping the crown of our head. It's the very center of the top of our head. Use the forefingers of each hand and begin tapping there. You can close your eyes if that feels comfortable. If not, let them remain open. Remember, in somatics and somatic yoga, we give ourselves options. You could even opt out of this if this is not working for you. And maybe try the next one. This particular meridian point is all about clarity and wisdom. And it's also the crown chakra. So it radiates with clarity and wisdom. And when we're in a freeze response, it may feel that wisdom is very, very, very distant. But trying to picture it, trying to remember that wisdom is there for you, that it can arrive if we let ourselves go quiet and wait for it to come. Use whatever pressure works for you. I like to have it a little more spicy. Beautiful. Let's move to the next tapping point. This is going to be between our eyebrows. And what you're going to do is it's better to use one hand. and just bring your 2 fingers right at the beginning of each eyebrow and begin to tap there. Close your eyes if you can, if that feels good. Now, this particular point is about that frustrated feeling that can come over when we're in a frozen state. Why can't I get out of this? Why can't I act when I want to? Trying to picture what that frustration might look like. Imagining it dissipating. Maybe it comes out of your body as a black cloud floating away. We are doing something for ourselves here that can release some of that frustration. And then also noticing, are you feeling some changes? Maybe the stomach is becoming a little less clenched. Maybe your shoulders are not so tight and constricted. Wonderful. Let's move on. We're going to now do the side of our eyes, not the temple, but that bony part beside your eye. We're going to tap that. Bring 2 fingers on each side, begin tapping. Close eyes. Try it. If not, keep your eyes wide open if you'd like. This one is an extremely tricky point because it really symbolizes anger and resentment. And often when I'm in a frozen state, I will direct that anger towards myself because I think, oh, I just can't get out of this. It's just, right? It brings in that red cloud of anger. And sometimes there's resentment that arises because maybe we feel resentment toward the situation that we can't seem to think our way out of or get our way out of it. Imagine that your anger is perhaps even a red fireball and that there is a cascade of water just coming down on top of it and letting it, and it's fizzling out. And that anger is not a bad thing to feel, but maybe in order to release the freezing, we need to release that anger for now. Next, this is where we're going to be tapping under our eyes, below our pupils, so on the top of our cheekbones. And so use 2 fingers of each hand and start tapping there. I typically naturally close my eyes because it's just the way my body wants to do it when I'm tapping under my eyes, but you don't necessarily have to do that if it's just not for you today. Why this one is really effective is because it's associated with releasing the fear of freeze. When I'm in freeze, I also have this strange sense of fear coming on. Let's just keep going for a little longer. Thinking about that fear, imagining it, and imagine releasing it. So good, you're doing well. And now we can stop. We're going to tap underneath our nose, in between the nose and the top of our lip. You can use 1 hand, 2 fingers, or both hands, and then 2 fingers of each hand. Now, this particular area is associated with the shame and powerlessness that comes over us when we are feeling like we're just stuck. We can't go anywhere, but we want to, but yet we can't. Try to feel in your body that what is happening is a response of your nervous system. And that what that response did was protect you at times when you needed it. There's no shame in that, and that you do have power. Next, moving in our chin, the crease between the bottom lip and the chin area, tapping in there. I find this area is a bit small for my face, so I do use one hand often and 2 fingers, or 4 fingers of one hand. Sometimes I'll just do 2 fingers of each hand. Regardless, get tapping. Now this is related to confusion and uncertainty, because that's what freezing can feel like. There's this reluctance to act, but yet there's also that surge of intensity that there's something in us that wants to. So it's almost that in-between state that confusion brings. Think about how, and imagine that idea of clarity, choices. Sometimes when we're in a freeze state, we have tunnel vision. We only think there's this one place to be and to live. When there are options, we can give ourselves options. Wonderful. Let's move on. Let's go into the mother of all tapping techniques, underneath the collarbone. Just going there and tap, tap, tapping. Beautiful. This completely releases out that constriction of our chest when the freezing happens. This particular point is amazing for anxiety as well. It lets us know we're alive, we're here, we can get rid of that stress. Wake up. We deserve to be awake in our lives. You're doing so great. Second last one. This is the side body where we're tapping. For anyone, it's like 4 inches down from your armpit. For women, it's basically your bra line. For men, it's like the center of their chest. So begin tapping with all your fingers if you can. If you had your eyes closed, you can keep them closed. If you notice that in a way you're crossing the midline, so you're kind of doing a half hug of your body, and that's what this one symbolizes. It is about support, supporting yourself. And maybe you didn't get support before, maybe you were disappointed and others let you down. You couldn't run away when you wanted to, when something was happening. And there was nowhere to go. There was no support. Now you can give yourself that. Now you can give yourself a semi-hug here and offer those young parts of you the love and care that they need. Last one, karate chop. This is bringing it all together. It's the fleshy part of the side of your hand. I'm going to do my right. and it's between the base of your pinky and the beginning of your wrist. You bring up your thumb on the other hand that you've used to do the karate chop and start tapping. And maybe you couldn't fight either. You couldn't fight back then. Now you can become that person who can set boundaries. The person who can draw the line between you and something or someone else. And you can be present to do that. And that's what this particular point does. It brings in the self-acceptance. You deserve to be here. You deserve to make choices. You deserve to act when you need to. You're doing amazing. I hope you're feeling more open and more alive. And we're just going to close out the last of our karate chops and come down into a bit more of a integration. You can drop your hands. You can place your hands wherever, either on your lap, on top of your knees. Even touching earth is a lovely way to reconnect to yourself and to where you are. Close your eyes if you can with me here. Begin to feel everything that we've done. Now with this one, you can also do this way more than once, because doing it more than once builds more of that presence and actually releasing and coming out of the frozen state, because the repetition helps that. What has changed? How are you feeling? Is there some calm now? And even if there isn't, that is okay. Trusting the process. Focusing on perhaps a mantra. You can say this out loud with me, or you can hear it and whisper it in your head. I am safe in my body. I can release now. I am safe in my body. I can release now. I am safe in my body. I can release now. Let's end with a mantra that I really love. And that's what a lot of EFT tapping is about. I am empowered to make choices. I am empowered to make choices. I am empowered to make choices about what I feel, what I want to do, what's next. If you had your eyes closed, you can open them, and we'll finish off the practice. Before we close out, there's a couple of things I do want to cover. First, I'm going to throw up this graphic. I've created this so that you can see all the tapping points and what they symbolize. I offer this free, and you can grab it through a link that I've shared in the description below. I encourage you to print this out, throw it in your briefcase, in your bag, place it on your yoga mat, and you can pick and choose what points you want to work on, either all together or 2 or 3. You can combine some of them as well. Remember to be a little creative. It doesn't have to be necessarily one over the other, always following that exact sequence. The exact sequence has a powerful completion to it, but being able just to do some of these and adding on or even lessening them is one way to go. And remember with the timings that even though I have timings, you can add on to how many taps you do, or again, lessen those taps so that you don't overwhelm yourself. Lastly, I just want to talk a little bit more about freeze and why tapping is so effective for it. So there's 2 types of freeze that we deal with. There's classic freeze. Now that is our body's intelligent way to alert us that something is right there and then we need to probably react to it. That's usually a temporary state. Just think of the analogy of the deer in the headlights, where you just go, ooh, you pause, and then eventually that feeling of freeze leaves and you can carry on with whatever is next. Now that might be fighting, that might be fleeing. There's a couple of options that can happen when you are in that temporary state of freeze. Now, the other type of freeze, which I already addressed, is functional freeze. That is the chronic pattern of feeling stuck and that surge of intensity that can overwhelm us. So typically that is what is considered parasympathetic dominance. So that is the part of your nervous system that's tied to rest and digest. So the relaxing part, right? We're supposed to be more playful. But the thing is, parasympathetic also manages things like depression and freeze, because it's that sense of being frozen, right? That stuckness. However, freeze also brings in sympathetic because it's those surge of racing thoughts that go through our mind. I have to, I should, but I can't. And it, loops. So the idea with tapping is it knocks on the door of the nervous system, goes directly to our brain functions, and brings us out of that stuck state and back into presence. I really hope you found these practices useful for where you're at. As usual, I love to connect with you. So if you loved what you saw and did here today, I'd appreciate a subscribe, a like, and a comment. I always want to know how these practices sit with you. And remember, you can grab that free graphic that I created. The link again is in the description. And of course, hit that notification button because you will not miss any new videos that come out. Wonderful to be here and to practice with you. We're going to see you soon.
Beautiful Thrivers, if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe so I can deliver more of this content to you. Sending lots of light and love, and see you next time.